What's going on, everyone? Today we're here with Cyrus Webb. Now, he is a radio host. He's interviewed a lot of famous people. He's also an author as well, out of the great state of Mississippi. Now, Cyrus, how you doing today, brother?
Doing good, Phil. Thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a while since we last time talked. What's happened in your life since the last time we had a conversation?
Yeah, it has been a while, man. A lot has gone on. Really, for one thing, the growth of the radio show has been great to be able to see that. I mean, when you and I last connected, we were primarily using Blog Talk Radio, of course, for our online promotion of the show. We've expanded the course from that. We've joined some other online affiliates, including now being part of the IHeart Radio family. So that's been great to be able to see the growth of the show. And then also, ironically, doing more video as well, like this. I've been traveling with my web series across the country. So now bringing more visual elements to the interviews I've been doing over the radio show to our audience now.
Yeah, and visual is something that people got to have. I mean, it's great to do radio, and even if you're doing radio these days, you still need to incorporate live streaming or some sort of recording because, you know, right. I guess gone the days that you could be behind the radio because people kind of like want to see you now.
I'm finding that out. That is true.
Yeah, because you know, you had your big platforms like the Breakfast Club. Like, really, nobody know them for music, but they know them for interviews.
Exactly. And you know what? I think there's a comfort level that kind of picks up there as well, Phil, where people feel as though when they see you, there is more of a connection with you. So you know, I'm glad to give the audience. And I have to tell you, I'm perfectly okay being behind the mic, just doing radio. But again, giving our audience what they want. I do hear that more and more when I do in-person events. They would like to see more of what I'm doing. So I'm giving the market what they want.
Yeah, now the only thing I'm going to tell you is like that's you know, definitely your following is going to increase because statistically they do say that people connect with you more when they can see you versus they can't. And right. So your audience definitely get bigger. But the only difference that I could tell you what I experienced, and I'm not a Hollywood type of guy. But when let's say you in the street, you buying different things or you shopping or whatever, and then people walk up to you and they may say, "Hey, Phil," like that, and I'm like, "Who in the world calling my name?" You know, but it's usually all love. But right. I know eventually, and this is my thing with it. Eventually, it may not be all love. You get what I'm saying? And I'm always got that in the back of my mind. That's just the only downside to. Right. People knowing who you are is like you don't know, you know, where so and so gonna come from, you know, and I'm cool with you recognizing me, but you know, when I want my kids or something like that, I'm a little different about that sort of thing.
Right. And you know what? Another thing too, you know, as you said, I mean, I interview a lot of people that are in the public, so they're kind of used to that. I'm not as much into that. I mean, I do mostly radio. Of course, I do some things with the media as far as newspapers, that kind of thing. So sometimes my picture will be in the paper or something like that. But yeah, I mean, the being recognized part is not, you know, something I'm not going to say I don't, you know, it is what it is, but it's not something that some people are into that kind of thing. It's not one of those things that I'm really into. So that is, I think, just a part of the course.
Yeah. Like you said, I'm that type of person. I've never been into that. I don't see how people want to be into that. You know, I'm the type of person. I like to duck off in my own little corner in life and just hang out. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I outside of, you know, the growth of the radio show, and who are some of the people that you've interviewed as of recently has been you know, pretty well known? You get a lot of people on your show.
Yeah, you know, we actually have slowed down the radio show, Phil, over the past couple years as I've been doing more traveling. Mm-hmm. So I used to interview between 8 and 1,000 people a year. I've cut that back now to about 600, which is
man. Hold on, 600 interviews in a year, man. I couldn't do 600 interviews. So how many interviews that is a day?
Yeah, I typically, even like before I'm doing this conversation with you, I've already had 3 guests that I've interviewed today. I typically do 4 a day. That's a regular day. A slow day is 2. So yeah, it's a crazy schedule, but it's, you know, again, now because I am on the different platforms, that way everyone's able to have different content. So it's not like you're hearing the same thing on every platform. So some of the platforms like that because they have exclusive content. Like something that I'll have on iHeart will not be on Blog Talk. That's one of the agreements I made with them. So, I mean, to make sure that I'm driving traffic in their direction. So yeah, so that does kind of up the ante for me as far as to the type of guest. But as far as some of the guests I've had on recently, I have to give my audience what they love when it comes to television. So we've been interviewing from the Tyler Perry shows, the haves and the have-nots, as well as For Better or Worse. Also, now I'm interviewing cast members of the new show on BET, In Contempt, which is getting a lot of great attention, as well as the ABC show For the People, the new Shonda Rhimes show. On the music side, we're up in the ante there as well. I have an upcoming interview coming up with In Vogue. They're, of course, traveling with their new project now. Have an interview coming up in a couple of weeks with Escape as they're celebrating their new project. But also still giving, as far as the country artists, rock and roll, hip hop. Well, I love a variety, so I'm glad to be able to bring that to the audience.
Yeah. Now, so Mississippi. Let's talk about Mississippi. What's city you kind of grew up in?
I grew up right outside of Jackson,
okay.
in Mississippi.
I got a friend of mine. He's actually out there in Jackson.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like, maybe you could help me out. Mississippi is not one of the states that I've say that's on my list to really make sure I visit. Now, is that me exaggerating a little bit? Because I look, Texas got its issues, but I know the issues in Texas. You kind of know where to go, where not to go. But from what everybody I know from Mississippi, they say, man, these folks are out with it out here. So is it that bad, or is it to say, man, certain pockets?
I would say certain pockets. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, Phil, and you may know this about my background. I was born and raised in Mississippi. I haven't always lived here. I did move up north for a while. I came back to Mississippi. And to be honest with you, I don't think I could have accomplished what I've accomplished. At this point, I'm celebrating 15 years on the radio this year. I don't think I could have done it anywhere else, to be quite honest with you. And that brings me a lot of pride because I'm here in Mississippi. There are three factors I think have worked in my favor. One is that I haven't put myself in a box. I'm a person just like, I have friends that are black, white, young, old, have different opinions on different issues. My gift, I think, is in being able to listen and to have conversations with people. I'm not big on trying to change people's perception of life or what they're doing. So that has given me a wider base here in the state of Mississippi, as well as outside the state. So that's one thing that's definitely worked for me. I think professionally, Phil, and I think you could appreciate this, there are not a lot of people doing what I do here in Mississippi, which means it's not saturated. I stand out. And that also makes me something that's very distinct, I think. I also think the third thing, coming from where I sit outside of Jackson, you're coming from a middle-class family, no college education, no broadcasting experience, to be able to achieve what I've done here in this state, and then to be able to now amplify it thanks to the internet, especially with social media, I think, makes me very proud of Mississippi. I have a very wide base here. And I can travel throughout this state, and I have people of different ages, different races that respect the work I do. They've heard of even if they don't know me by face, they've heard of conversations, they're aware of what I do. And so I think, just like with any other place, when I moved to New York, people tell me, there's nothing but murderers and drug addicts up there. I lived there without incident, the entire time I lived in New York. So I think I think people have a perception. Now, again, not to take away from what maybe someone else's experience, but that has not been my experience. I'm 42 years old. I've spent at least 35 years of my life in this state, and I have not had the issues that some people have had, but I feel like I've benefited from the state in a lot of ways.
Yeah, because I know a lot of, like I said, a lot of good people from Mississippi. I love people from Mississippi. Alabama. The South. They just we all have that Southern hospitality, and it's just great. And whether they've been the brothers or the sisters I met from Mississippi, I say, shoot, they always been down home. And many of them have transferred here to Texas. In a lot of ways. But let's talk about your recent book. How's that going?
It's going really good. Power Your Life with the Positive is the title of it. Phil, I'm really excited about this book. Well, for one reason, it's the first of a 2-book deal that I signed with Mango Publishing as a publisher that has been following my work online and wanted to be able to work with me to be able to take, really what it does, it takes 40 of the celebrity interviews that I've done over the years, especially over the past 18 months, and it has combined them in a book that's all about positivity. Right now we're living in a really dark time, unfortunately, for a lot of people. There are a lot of issues that are going on. A lot of people are giving up hope. And I was fortunate to have people around me who were always inspiring me, pushing me toward greatness, even through challenges. I've tried to be that for other people. But in this book, I've taken 40 examples of individuals who are household names who have talked to me about how they've overcome challenging circumstances and be able to use that as fuel to achieve the things that they've done. So I'm really excited about the book. The response has been really good, and we actually debuted the first week in the top 100 for Amazon.com, which was an honor for me. And the book continues to be doing strong 3 weeks out.
That's great. That is really great that you wrote a book about positivity, because the book I'm writing, no, it's not a lot of positivity, but it's positive if you read it in a certain light.
Right.
Like you said, and I've got a few more chapters to write in my book,
Okay.
but my book is really, it's gonna be for people that like if they didn't see, now they're gonna see. It's not gonna be one of those books that you can close your eyes to. But I also heard that you're an Amazon reviewer. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, Amazon's been good to me, man. I mean, and it's one of those things, again, I fell into. I mean, I've been reviewing for Amazon since 2010. Like a lot of people do, I actually started off for a weird reason. I mean, we hear so much about the negative, and people will tell you, well, I didn't like that, I didn't like this. And unfortunately, it seems like even in person, we complain more than we compliment. So what I wanted to do with Amazon, and when I started in 2010, was to let people know about the good things that I was finding when it comes to music, books, and different things. Had no idea. I went into it really ignorantly. I had no idea there was a certain thing as a ranking. I didn't know that there were benefits that came from being a respected reviewer with Amazon. So now here we are, going into my 8th year. I'm now one of the top 200 reviewers in the country. Which opens me up to a lot of different things, companies who want to partner with me to introduce their products when they're coming out. Companies like iHeart, who provides my clothing a lot of times when I'm out on the road. Perry Ellis, Tommy Hilfiger. Companies that, will help me things with, as far as shoes go, things around the house, all in partnering with me because they know I'm going to talk about those things. So Amazon, if people are sleeping on Amazon, Phil, I definitely tell them it's more than books. It's definitely more than music. There are a lot of great ways that you can be able to find out about some amazing products, but also benefit when it comes to growing your business and your brand.
Yeah, and that's, I know you got the influencer program and other things, like you said, outside of selling books and music, etc. Amazon is a beast. Trust me, it is. And,
Right.
You look at that stock price of Amazon, you can see why. And I don't see Amazon going away no time soon. I mean, they're literally destroying retail.
Yeah.
And the retail market cannot stand that. So what's outside of all of that, what's new things you have coming up in the area of, let's say, your radio or certain touring that you're doing?
Well, like I said, I am cutting back some, if you call it that, cutting back. I've already interviewed 220 people already this year, but I'm on the road a lot these next few months. I just came back from a great trip in Los Angeles last month where I was able to cover the Scandal series finale in Los Angeles, as well as to do some interviews for my web series there for Cyrus Webb Presents. I'll be back on the road as we're going throughout the next few months. I'm doing 5 more states over the next few months, again, for my web series on YouTube, as well as putting together something that I'm really excited about. I mean, I love social media. I don't do a lot of the lives. I don't know about you, about doing a lot of Facebook lives or Instagram lives. I'm going to start a weekly show, actually, though, through Instagram, because my following has definitely grown in that platform. So to kind of magnify that and to use that, I'm going to start doing some of my interviews live on Instagram. And to be able to share that, and to be able to allow something that I don't normally do, and that is to allow questions. So I'll have someone actually reading the comments to my guest and myself, letting us know what people are saying so that I can make it more interactive. So that's one of the things I'm looking forward to as we head into the summer.
Yeah, live streaming is good. Like I said, man, we do it all the time. Like I said, man, we just live streamed the interview last night, actually. And it's always great to do that and connect with the audience. The only reason, like I said, Facebook, I don't fool with Facebook. I can't deal with it because, well, what you do, Facebook is okay. But for what I do, No, Facebook be blocking you too much, you know. So I don't even want to fool Facebook.
Okay.
I wish Instagram would get a API that it can connect with the program that I'm using here, because, like, you know, holding the phone, or even you put your phone on a tripod or whatever, you know, to shoot. I mean, I like to kind of be in my studio doing different things, and
Sure.
give let's say give the Instagram audience the same thing that would give maybe a YouTube audience. But
Right.
hopefully, maybe Instagram will change that. But yeah, definitely Instagram Live is good, and, you know, like I said, I do a lot of YouTube lives.
Gotcha. And I haven't done, honestly, any lives, and I've been again giving the market what they want. I'm asked about it a lot. And it's funny, like I said, and it goes to behind. You know, my comfort level is more about being behind the scenes, behind the mic. I'm still getting adjusted to being in front of the camera. I mean, to me, doing an interview like this, and again, I appreciate this opportunity, is great. And what I do locally when I'm traveling, and, you know, and doing little short, you know, television interviews, that's cool. But as far as actually building my platform that way, that's been something I've had to challenge myself on, because it's not something that comes naturally for me.
I hear you. So, Cyrus, can you tell people how they can get in contact with you, just in case maybe they want to ask you some questions I did not ask?
Sure. The easiest way is just my website, www.cyruswebb.com. Again, that's www.cyruswebb.com. That takes you to everything. There are links there for the books, including my newest book, Power Your Life with the Positive. You can also find the radio show there, as well as our magazine. You can find a link there to the magazine. And Phil, one thing I should have mentioned earlier is that I also, as of last year, have a 24-hour platform called Conversations Radio Network. That is myself and other guests and hosts that are part of that. So we have our music mixes from both independent as established artists, as well as you can find conversations live there, as well as other guests who are dealing with fashion, the arts, and also social issues as well. So all of that information is right there at cyruswebb.com.
All right, guys. Well, make sure you check out those links. We'll put them in the pinned comment, as always. And you can connect with Cyrus Webb. I'm sorry. If you live in Mississippi, you should already know who the brother is. If not, well, get with him, because we got some people in Mississippi that watch the show, so now they probably connect with you, and that would be great. So, Cyrus, thank you for joining us today, brother, and hope you have a blessed week, my man.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity again, and definitely want to thank Kellen Cash for helping us set this up, Bill. Really appreciate it.